This has been possibly the most divisive season of Attack on Titan yet. Some of it understandable, some of it less so. So I thought I'd put my hat in the ring and speak about what I think this season did wonderfully and where it may have fallen short. Attack on Titan the final season has to have been one of the most anticipated anime comebacks of all time. Season 3 left us off with a giant reveal, a huge payoff of several years of anticipation. But it was the equivalent of watching an anime about food. It was amazing to see the end result, but we never get to taste it. So when we jump into the beginning of this season in Marley, not Paradis, it was jarring to say the least. But I think it was an effective subversion of what was expected. We all wanted to see what was going on with Eren and company, where they've been, what they've been doing, and how Armin's doing with his Titan abilities. But this beginning fills the necessary gaps in understanding of the new enemy for the protagonists to fight. We've been fighting a simple battle so far, at least in terms of moral questions. But as the enemy gained humanity, personality, and political alignment, the complexity of storytelling required to do the character interactions justice jumped up. It is not all new faces though. To soften this introduction and simultaneously answer questions of motivation, we follow not only the new warrior candidates, but also the more familiar character of Reiner. And man, does Reiner become my favorite character of this season fast. Every scene of him throughout the season works to demonstrate his fight against himself and his sins. We see how he ended up a warrior candidate and what it means to him, why he feels so responsible for all the atrocities on Paradis, and what he plans to do with that understanding. His reaction to seeing Eren for the first time is so human, so visceral, that it heightens the new cold, calculating Eren we follow from then on, as does Eren's conflicted reaction to the death of Sasha. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Gabby is easily the most hated character from all this season. From my perspective, it's understandable to dislike her or hate her for her actions, but some people take it too far. To say it was a fault in the show is a misnomer. People are reacting that way because they care about Sasha, not because of her being a bad addition to the story, at least generally. By following her and Falco in tandem, we see how the indoctrination of Marley affects different people in different ways. Falco, thinking everything through and idolizing Reiner, sees the effects that Paradis had on him, and realizes that everything is not as black and white as it seems. Gabby never had those notions. She is all in, dedicated to the idea of subjugation to Marley in its entirety. Feeling pride and accomplishment in being a soldier, this is what her people deserves, she thinks. This kind of naivete can be expected from the warrior candidates considering their age. The reasons for writing her, Falco, and everyone else this way are to show the cruel, messy reality of war and its effects on the human experience. We have been celebrating and glorifying the triumphs of our main characters over the monsters that wish to consume them. But what happens when they start to become monsters? These are the questions we've been guided to over the first few seasons. But only later in Season 3 did we start fighting pure humans, and even then it never involved civilians. This, as stated in the OP, is war, and to make us understand how blurred morality is, Eren turns into his Titan form under a civilian building. His lack of visible remorse and Mikasa's concern are proof of this goal. Further, Armin's first use of the Colossal Titan is one of pain and destruction, echoing the disasters of modern weaponry. It is not celebrated by him, but mourned. On both sides, there are characters disgusted with what they believe they've been forced to do for their country and their cause. Once the smoke clears on the war and everything is over, there's going to be a lot of PTSD for everyone to get through. While we're on the topic, worst character for me at the moment is high-key Flock. From my perspective, I cannot see how Flock, who was so concerned with reviving Erwin, would flip immediately to Eren's side. I think he would be more loyal to Levi. Perhaps he's simply more of a coward than I thought, though. Of the entirety of the season, I think my favorite moments are the speech by Sasha's dad, Zeke's past with Tom Ksaver, and most of all, Eren confronting Reiner underground. It is further testament to the shift in tone and style that the best moments for me were not the hype fights of previous seasons, but the nuanced character interactions and the deepening of understanding. I think there are some things that could have been changed, such as the pacing of certain moments, but let's get into the absolute biggest controversy, the animation. think in the same way that the change in storytelling style was jarring from seasons 1 through 3 to 4, the animation followed suit. Production switched from WIT to MAPPA, leaving the new studio to replicate the old style as best they could. Not only did the style change for the animation, but the characters also aged several years, leading to a large difference in appearance. Overall, the general stance has been to dislike CGI in anime, but I think that is a public opinion simply built up because of the past failures of the likes of Golden Kamui's PS2 Bear or Berserk 2017. In reality, some of the most praised shows of the past decade utilized CGI to amplify what 2D animation was already there. Where would Demon Slayer and Unlimited Blade Works be without their CGI models, backgrounds, and effects? Perhaps the lesson here is to just give every CGI job to Ufotable. Given the limited time and manpower, since MAPPA was also working on JJK, it is understandable that the CGI titans would not be up to the same level as their 2D counterparts. But if they had not been CGI, we may have not even gotten this season at this point. In essence, it may not be the best thing ever, but the people to blame are those limiting the budget and the production time of a studio already split among multiple shows. And eventually, their learning CGI may make the second half of the final season even better than it would have been otherwise. CGI has its place, it just needs time to become a seamless part of the process. Sadly, it was not there for this season. In terms of music, I believe the opening and ending capture the chaos and sadness of war respectively, but I cannot recall any notable tracks from the OST, which may in fact be a good sign that it did its job well. I'm not quite sure. Overall, I look forward to seeing what everyone else thinks of this season and what you are most looking forward to for next season. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you liked it. If you liked the video, like it. It helps me put out more content more frequently for you guys to enjoy.